We are here back at the Show Live, Magic 107.5, 97.5, and we got another special guest in the building doing it big. Y'all know me from a few things, but a lot of times I host clubs and stuff, right? When I'm hosting the clubs or a concert or a festival, I'm like, everybody that went to a HBCU make some noise, and everybody is always ecstatic to represent their HBCUs. And now this brother right here, Clifton, is making sure, Mr. Clifton, let me say, Director Clifton, Producer Clifton.
I appreciate that.
What he's doing is making sure that we have a voice or a space to see all these wonderful films and creations that people in those spaces are making. So we appreciate you, my brother. Autumn Fest is in the building. What's going on?
All right, man. I appreciate it. Thanks. I'm so excited to be here. Appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
No problem. No problem. It's the Autumn Sun Fest.
So it's the Autumn Sun HBCU Film Invitational this year. So
I don't want to disrespect the name.
I want to make sure we're giving these students the spotlight that they deserve. So let's make sure we know that HBCU is in there. But yeah, the Autumn Sun HBCU Film Invitational, and we are in our second year now, and our first in person here in Detroit, August 23rd and 24th. So it's a very exciting time.
That's awesome. How did this come about? Like, obviously, you wanted to be able to give other people a safe space to be able to showcase these amazing creations. But how did it actually come about?
Well, I was having back in 2018, I was visiting North Carolina A&T, and I was having a conversation with a few of the educators there, and they talked about how we don't have the right time they didn't have like the infrastructure for a filmmaking program. So if I could think of any events that the students can participate in, they definitely believe that the students would be stimulated by that. And the one thing I didn't see at that time was events specifically for the films of the students.
Yeah.
Let's put together a film festival for them where we'll showcase the best. We'll give out prizes, things like that. And they're all down for it. So I spent 2 years putting that together with them. And then, we were ready to go in 2020, but then COVID happened, which waylaid us a little bit. But we luckily finally got a chance to do a virtual competition in 2022. And now we're here doing our first in-person here in Detroit, this at the end of August. And it's been a long journey. It's been a long time coming, but we had a chance to view over a couple hundred student films and be able to spotlight the work that's on these campuses. Like it's been a blessing to be able to do all this.
What was the criteria for those that are actually able to get picked to be that Power 25?
The only criteria was just you had to be a student at an HBCU. Now, when it comes down to what the jury members select, that's a very specific question. I'm not on a jury. I just preside over everything. But the one thing I do tell the students when they ask me about what kind of films you're looking for, I'm like, we're looking for what you want to make. And I think what an individual juror might connect to, another jury might connect to something else. But we want you to feel empowered to make what you want to make and be able to stand on that. So whether it gets picked or not, you can stand by, hey, this is my art. I didn't feel like I capitulated in any way. And I think we want to empower them to have that type of confidence. As they obviously, being a young filmmaker can be very difficult, trying to get that start off, and it can be very terrifying experience. So just kind of trying to instill that confidence in them. That's what we try to do. No particular criteria. Make what you want to make, how you want to make it. And I guarantee you there's an audience out there for it that we'll be able to help you find.
How incredible would this have been to have something like this when you were coming up, you're in school, and you're a new filmmaker?
Well, that was kind of the whole point, because my career, I would say, has actually been a little easier than most. I was going to school and then left because, economically it wasn't feasible at that time, but I still looked up at getting a job because I was in the right place at the right time. And because I got the opportunity, I rose pretty quickly because I was given the opportunity to go out there and prove myself. What I have noticed with most filmmakers who obviously go the academic route is that it can be hard to break into that industry if you don't know the right. It's the same thing with any other industry. If you don't have the connections, you're not going to go anywhere. It doesn't matter how great the project is or how great how great your energy, how great your passion is for it. If you don't have that person that can open the door for you, it generally can be sometimes near impossible and very, which we're looking for, very demoralizing trying to get into that space. So I wanted to make sure I created a platform just for them, because I feel like this would have helped me when I was younger if I had that platform just to make my films and be able to showcase them, at least have the opportunity to do that. And then just by giving them that platform, it instills the confidence in other students say, you know what, hey, look, I never considered myself a filmmaker, but maybe I might want to try something out while I'm here on campus. My thing is that you can still go be a doctor, you can still go be a lawyer, whatever. But while you're here, grab your cell phone, shoot a 5-minute film and see what can happen, because you never know what doors I can open for you. So I think this would have been something that we obviously we have, you know, schools like Howard who have like that historic base and foundation,
Mhm.
like it being a filmmaking school. But you can have those same things at Alabama A&M, Texas Southern, Southern University, if we just create the access and the platform. So that's what I think this could have done in the past, and what I'm hoping what we're doing now will be able to create for the future.
And I thought that you have professionals as the jurors, people watching, people that are
Mhm.
supporting this, and that also gives them like a plethora of folks that can really network with and get to know their name and try to get their shoe in the door that way.
Yeah, you know what's funny is I tell them all the time, so you know what, one of you's gonna win the award, and that's cool and all. But while you're up here, while you have the spotlight, make sure you're talking to people. Make sure you're jumping into DMs. Like I don't care if you want to talk to Ryan Coogler or whoever. The biggest thing is I think young people have to learn. I'm pretty sure you have to learn this at some point yourself. Is that networking is a skill that you have to build on. Understanding how to actually build those relationships and how to be able to sustain them. And then I think too often people network with the idea of like, oh, well, I have to have an idea first. Like, no, sometimes you have to just build a relationship with them and say, hey, look, I'm around. And hopefully we can build something up from that. So my hope is that when they get a chance to meet all these people and meet all the people here to support them, that they can take those relationships away from them. I did have one student who talked about, you know, when they talk about their roommates, who their rooming group was while they're up here, he's like, hey, look, can I make sure I sit down with somebody I don't know? I want to be able to expand my network. I'm like, cool, like you get it. That's kind of that's a valuable trait that'll help you in your experiences. So that's what I'm hoping to take away from this is that, you know, go out there and shake hands, hear stories, exchange ideas, and then from that is where you kind of build the foundation of your success. And I'm pretty sure you can agree with that.
Absolutely. I think that's actually the best equity you can have. You being able to meet new people, you being able to make a good impression as well when you meet those new people. They see, okay, you're serious about your craft, or they're serious about trying to move forward in life, because that'll separate you from a lot of things.
I think one thing I think people don't understand is that talent only takes you so far. If you don't have that hustle, if you don't have, I mean, we talk about what we call the Kobe, the Mamba mentality, and things like that. I'm sorry, my light went out. But if you don't have the, how do I want to put this? If you don't have that killer instinct, that's where you get lost.
Yeah.
Because you can become a PA, you can become things like that, because they shove out PAs a dime a dozen. But if you want to actually climb the ranks, you have to show some initiative, because that's what they're going to choose. Like say, you know, hey, you know, we don't want to bring people up to this space if they're not going to do a good job. So I think what I have noticed from our field of 25 is that they all have that killer instinct. Hey, look, we're trying to make it out here. They kind of, I mean, I think they hang on my word a little bit too much sometimes. They look, yo, I don't know all the answers, you know, but the one thing that has gotten me this far is that I'm willing to sacrifice and I'm willing to take risk. And I think you have to be willing to do that. You're going to play it safe, then you're going to get a safe result. But if you want to figure out how I can get a immeasurable amount of success, well, you got to imagine a measurable amount of risk and measurable amount of sacrifice. But also make sure you're doing that smartly. Because if you're making dumb mistakes, you know, then you're going to be right where you started.
Yeah, it's all about moving the right way. But you can make an aggressive mistake, but at least be morally sound when you do it, ethically sound when you do it. Show that you have good character. You're not backbiting somebody to get ahead. You're just showing your worth through your movement.
I would tell them, you know, don't be afraid of losing, but don't ever forfeit. Hey, you and I both have losses in our career. We're going to have more losses moving forward.
Right.
However, the skill comes in learning how to say, cool, that didn't work this time. Now I know how to do it next time. And maybe it may not be as big as you want it to be. It may not look as you wanted it to look the first time. But now that you know what it looks like, now you can build on top of that. So I think too often when we're young, we have this mentality of like, okay, cool, I have this grand vision for this project I want to do. And it's possible. It's not impossible. Don't get me wrong. But you also have to have a realistic approach. Like, hey, cool. Well, here are my contingency plans for if that doesn't work that way and ways I could different go. So that's the big thing when we talk about experience. Like I think you can never overvalue experience but experience that you don't learn from is not worth anything. So if you're going to do something just to do it, then you know you're going to get the results that you want. But if you do something, say have to actually take the time to reflect on that. As a filmmaker, that's where I feel like as a filmmaker and now a festival director, that's where I have most of my success from. Say, cool, what do I like? What did I do wrong? What have I seen other people do? How do I want to get there? And it's a long process, but if you have patience with yourself, then you know, here I am today being able to put on this project for them. And it took me 6 years, but it could have taken 20 had I kept making dumb mistakes.
Yeah.
And not listening to people around me.
I think that's the difference. That's profound. That's a difference between a mistake and a failure, I think. And that's how I kind of categorize them. So I say mistake. I learned from that. I move forward, and now I'm learning how to win with it or go, in a better direction. But a failure is something you just mess up, don't learn anything, and you keep doing it over and over, or it makes you quit. So mistakes are cool as long as you learn from them. But you're teaching the younger people coming up like an amazing trait of how to move forward the right way.
But funny thing is, I always tell them there's a TV show I love watching right now. I don't know if you've seen it on Apple TV called The Morning Show. And it kind of shows the behind the scenes, like what that culture can be like in a broadcast setting, which I have been a part of in the past. It's like, you have to know how to move with certain people, because that's what's going to either propel or impede your career. So, be friendly with everybody, but also make sure that you know what your value is and what you bring to the table, and that make sure that they're recognizing that. Because too often, as you know, especially when it comes to Black art, we undervalue Black art.
Yeah.
And I want to make sure as we get this new generation of hey, we have more platforms, whether it be through places like Tubi, BET Plus, things like that, that people are now getting the equity that they deserve. So, it takes time, and it's hard because it's a very, very large conversation. It's hard to kind of generalize that.
Yeah.
But I think the biggest thing is that some of them are going to grad school, some of them are going the independent route, is that you figure out ways to maintain that momentum for yourself internally. Like, it may not be like that. It may look like to everybody else like you're doing anything, but making sure that you maintain that fire within you is what's going to propel you forward, because you're going to get a lot of no's.
Yeah.
And the no's are the no's are the only thing I can guarantee you in your career that you're going to hear.
You got to have that goldfish mentality.
Yeah.
Oh, no, all right, cool. No, I'm going to the next thing until I get the yes. Because if you start harping on the no's, it's just like, even if you're an actor, you're going to get a bunch of auditions and 90% of them are going to be no. Then you're going to get and it's going to change the trajectory of your life. So you just got to keep it going. Those that I've learned, even in this career, this path, I've learned that those that stay consistent and persistent are the ones that win. It's not about talent. It's not about anything else. It's more so about those that are consistent.
And consistent is hard, bro, because life be lifing sometimes.
Life is three times.
People have to worry about paying rent, have to worry about providing for a family. All those things come up. So, and you talk about as a student, some of them may come from we're talking about historically under-resourced communities that historically under-resourced colleges and universities.
Mm-hmm.
So they're already kind of fighting for life for the most part. Hey, like, I want to make sure I can get this degree so I can make sure I can provide for myself, maybe even provide for my family who got me to this point. So they're in a good position where, like, hey, look, with our program, whether you consider your film to be good or not, and good, good, when it comes to art, that's subjective. That's whoever you put in front of. Like, if I don't like it, doesn't mean somebody else won't.
Right.
So, this is a good time for you to come in and fail, and not have to worry about the repercussions of that failure. And I think that shows you how cool. How I look around, look at my peers, and what are they reacting to now? Is it something where the audience just didn't get what I was talking about, or I just haven't found my audience yet? And that's where you can learn from that without having to worry about, okay, cool, is it going to help you put food on the table? Because right now, your only job right now is to get good grades, so you can graduate and move to the next part of your life. But it's the perfect time for you to come in here and kind of just incubate yourself. So that's why we're so excited for the program, is that we could talk about what they can learn from me, but what you can learn from the environment of actually participating in the program is actually a lot more valuable. Because I've had a lot of students come to me and say, hey, well, I might not be able to do this, or what, I can't afford a camera. I'm like, well, if you have a cell phone, you got enough.
Mm-hmm. We've seen people make like, I've literally watched my friend or actual friend, filmmaker Chase Walker, make films and make millions off of it.
There are Academy-winning award-winning films that were shot on iPhones.
Yeah.
So you can't tell
excuses anymore. Like, there's no excuses.
I think, yes, the NYUs and USCs may have the resources that you don't have, but it doesn't mean they have more creativity.
Right. And we see that even with Jordan Peele. You see Ryan Coogler. You see these people that have put together smaller budgeted films, and they have rivaled those with huge box office budgets, and then come back and see the numbers make more sense. You see them making millions and millions of dollars off of these films, and not to make it a money thing, but just see, like, you don't need all the resources to have an amount of success and to be able to compete.
What was it, the film that came out this past year? I think it was I forgot what it was. It was a Black guy who wrote it. It was nominated. I think it was nominated for Best Picture. I think it was something fiction. I forgot the title of the film. But he talked about how we don't need to have all these $200 million budget films to carry Hollywood. If you invest $5-10 million films and filmmakers who are actually, get into their craft, you can get the same result economically in the independent fashion. That's something that I think we're kind of like losing a little bit. People loved when Fruitvale Station came out by Ryan Coogler. People loved when obviously George when director Peele put out Nope. All of those films. So I think if we just continue to invest in Black filmmakers adequately, and we have opportunities where people are being invested, but they're being invested far below what they actually need, then we can get that return. And the biggest thing is they have that creativity already. This allows our program allows you to establish that creativity within yourself. So when the time comes and you get a $10 million budget, you know what to do with it. Right. You see a lot of people who come in here, they waste money on a project real quick.
Yeah.
We don't want that for these students. So, the world is evolving. The cinematic world is changing overnight right now. Yeah. We don't know what's going to look like in 5 years. So I'm excited to see how we're going to have to evolve as well. But these students, they're primed for this. And
what do you see? I'm sorry, I'm going to cut you off, but that sparked me on a question. What do you see within the next 5 to 10 years? Because you're actually in the game, but you're also on a path that's pretty innovative, especially with this Autumn Sun HBCU Film Festival. I know I missed probably a word.
It's no problem, yeah.
But you're on the innovation side, right? So you've been in the industry. You see where it's kind of going, but you're also creating spaces. So where do you see it going in the next 5 to 10 years, especially with all this new streaming platforms and more spaces for people to be able to get creatives out?
Well, that's the thing, bro, is that we don't know. Obviously, we just had this strike and they came to a new bargaining agreement. But the ramifications of that are about 5-6 years away. And we're just projecting at this point. The biggest thing with studios is that they're going to make their money. So either they're going to do smaller crews or smaller budgets. They're going to figure those things out. So right now really is the time of the independent filmmaker, because you have more control and you have, like I said, you have so many platforms that you can use. Especially when we talk about streaming platforms like the Tubies, the Zeus networks, all these Black-owned streaming platforms that you have access to who are looking for Black content, and not just from Nature Studios. It's a perfect time for you to figure out what that's like. I talk with my friends all the time, and obviously I don't have the statistics right in front of me. And these are people who, I'm not union, but they're union. They work with the Disneys and the HBOs and things like that. And even they say bro, we don't know where this is going to go. Half the projects this year that were scheduled got pushed because they were trying to see what's going to happen. Are people going to go back to the movie, stuff like that? Next year will be a heavy year. But I've had friends who are multi-Emmy winning producers who, for the first time, had to start applying for productions to work on because the industry was slowing down because they're trying to figure out how we make that money back from losing all that money at that strike. So I don't know what the long-term ramifications of that are going to look like. So, I think the one thing I want to tell young filmmakers in general, if you're looking to get into Hollywood, figure out ways to bring Hollywood to you, because Hollywood's changing and we don't know what it's going to look like in a couple of years, but you have a good chance now with the technology that we have with the internet. You can find an audience somewhere. And there are people out here who just want to find Black content, no matter what it is, no matter how good it is or not. They just want to put Black content out there. So go out there, grab a camera, grab a cell phone, whatever, and just start shooting.
I love that, man. You like you said, you could bring it to you. You're bringing it to your city. Now you're bringing the festival to people, and you're actually giving them a seat at the table. So we appreciate what you're doing. Tell people how they can get more information on the festival.
So you can follow us on Instagram at Autumn Sun Fest, as well as you can go to autumnsunfest.org. On Monday, we'll actually be announcing the sales of our tickets. That'll be August 5th. For the award show, and as well as the free events that are happening at that festival. We're going to have 5 events. We're going to have an opening night party, a few panels, obviously the live taping of our invitational awards presentation, and an after party. So tickets for that will be going on sale on Monday. And like I said, Autumn Sun Fest on Instagram and autumnsunfest.org is where we're going to have all the information for there. You can watch that, as well as you can go watch the 2022 virtual award show and the films that participate in that as well. So, please come out and support. And we're looking forward to having everybody and be able to showcase these students and, looking towards the future.
Awesome. And is there any project you want people to check out that you might have been part of lately?
No, I mean, it's all been Autumn Sun for me, bro. I've been off the grid for about 2 years now. Hey, I've had people have to check them. Are you still making films? Nope. I'll be back in a couple of years. But I think right now my focus is on just figuring out how I can create more platforms for our community and help really kind of grow that young base, so they have the more resources than I have. So I'll get back there at some point. But right now, my only project is Autumn Sun, and I'm very proud of that.
That's incredible. We appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for taking some time out and also for making a platform for our voices.
Hey, I look forward to being back soon.
All right, no doubt. Y'all check it out. Make sure you get all the information. Of course, it's in the bio down below if you're watching this video, and we'll post it on our website, majicatl.com. We gone.